tuning into my channel. Today's topic will be thirsty plants. How many plants do you have in your collection that requires you to water more times than the remainder part of your collection? I have several to share with you today, and we're going to start off with this peace lily, this domino peace lily. Now, this plant is very dramatic. When it does not have any water, it will completely droop all the way down. And then I would give it some water and it perks right back up. But I say this plant, I got it in a terracotta pot. And even though I do have it in a terracotta pot, what I did do with the soil is airy, but it's not that airy. So I may have put maybe like 10% perlite in with just regular potting soil. But since I only did that because I knew I was going to put it in this terracotta pot and it was going to absorb some of the moisture anyway, so I can kind of control it, because I can be a heavy waterer sometimes, and I know that. So I'm trying to accommodate or create a balance in between the two. And so far it does seem to work for this one. This is a juvenile form. But when it does grow big, it's extremely beautiful, and you'll see more of the variegation, like in this leaf right here. You would actually see more of it as the plant matures. But thirsty plant, it lets me know when it needs it, and I give it to it and it responds well. I try not to let it get to the point where it's actually drooping down as an indicator of when to water it. So I'm getting into the habit where I can know, like maybe like the day before, I know it's going to droop, and I usually give it a water then, and it seems to like that method. So this is my first plant. My other plant is a plant that we all know for sure. We've seen it in almost common big box stores, and you pretty much can get this plant probably anywhere with no hesitation. So, and that is this plant here. And I don't know why I'm actually drawing a blank for this tag, and that happens from time to time. But if I can remember the name, I'll share it with you below. This is like kind of like one of my first plants that I've actually got, and it's actually grown tremendously. And I have this one because this one, as the peace lily, this one will really droop, but droop even more significantly than the peace lily, because it'll fall all the way down like as if it's died. So, you know, that kind of scared me the first time I had that event. I was like, oh no, it died. But I've learned that you just give it some water and actually perk back up. I treat it the same way. I try not to let it get down to collapsing before I water it, because you don't want to do that too often, because I just fear that one day it's going to collapse and it's not going to come back up. But I actually watered it today because unfortunately I did forget. Some time went by, and got up and I saw that it was completely starting to lean and the leaves were soft. So I kind of like gave it some water, and as usual it perks right back up. But also as a tip too, what I did do is I put it in, like, this is not a cash pole, but it does have a drainage hole down the bottom, and it's a ceramic pot. It holds moisture a little bit longer, and I kind of like did that because I had this mix in a much more area mix. So I would say more like a 40%, I want to say, maybe not 40%, I'd say about 30% perlite into my regular potting soil. And because of that, I noticed I was watering more often than I would care to do. But I switched it and I put it in this pot, and because I did that, it's holding on to moisture longer, which means that it takes me a longer time for me to have to water it. So now I'm like probably watering this thing literally, if you can believe it, like a week and a half before it actually will need water. And that's kind of good for me, because you don't want to be like trying to water it all the time or every day. Sometimes it can be time consuming. Now, speaking of watering stuff all the time, plants all the time, and it can be time consuming, will be this plant right here. But to me, This plant is worth it. Look at this plant, guys. Look at it. Look at the leaves. Look at the stem. This is look at that. I just love the white veining in the leaf. I love the pink color. Look at this thing it has grown tremendously. Look how long it is. And when I got this plant, I'm about to tell you the name of it, but when I got this plant, it literally was down here. It has given me all of this growth. And this is, and I hope I'm not butchering the name, but it's Arzine Lime. Arzine. Arzine or Arzine Lime. And this is a very beautiful plant, but it's a very thirsty plant. This plant, I tell you, listen guys, this plant right here, you will love to appreciate it because it will show its booty if you do not give it water on time. The leaves will droop. It will get, see that? It'll start crisping up quickly. It is not forgiving. It will droop, but if you give it water, it will bounce back up. But I believe this plant is only going to warn you like 1, maybe 2 times. And then if you forget on that 3rd time, this plant will probably say, I'm out. It will quit on you. So you definitely want to make sure you keep your watering up. Now, and the leaves will also, it'll get droopy and it'll feel very soft and it'll crisp up really bad. But I have it in, this is a cash pole that has a drainage hole, by the way, but I just have it in just this nursery pot. And it's getting to the point now, where I'm watering this thing probably like every 2 days. Yes, every 2 days. As soon as this top layer, the very top layer of the soil is dry, I instantly start watering it. I don't dump a lot of water. I just pour it, give it enough where I'm keeping it moist, but not wet. This is a plant that you do not want to let it dry out completely. You don't want it to dry out halfway. And you kind of pushing it if you let it dry out 3/4, 1/4 of the way. I'll put it like that. But I don't mind watering this plant every other day if need be. But it can be time consuming. So what I'm actually thinking about doing is like what I did with the plant that I just showed you guys. I'm thinking about actually planting it into this pot since it does have a drainage hole. And that way it will hold moisture a little bit longer. And maybe I could not have to worry about this for maybe like every 4 days or so. But I don't really mind doing it because it's rewarding me with such beautiful foliage, man. I mean, look how full look how long it is, first of all. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shoots growing from here. And it's just keep on constantly rewarding me with growth. So I really don't mind. I really love it. This is a beautiful plant. And I believe I got this plant, I want to say, I think Steve's Leaves. And I brought it. It didn't cost much at all. It was actually under $10. So, very reasonable price. It gives you beautiful colors. Very rewarding plant. I recommend this. Maybe not for a beginner, but once you understand the importance of water, when to water to light ratio, and things of that nature, then this would definitely be a good plant for you. Now, my last plant is another plant that's thirsty and has provided me with tremendous amount of growth, you guys. And this is the Pilea grandifolia coral. Coral, of course, for its beautiful color. Look at that color. It's like almost like a copper tone to it. It is absolutely gorgeous. And look, it just goes on. It just goes on and on. And this is one of my favorite plants. It's so beautiful. It has grown, I say, about at least 8 inches in growth since I've gotten this plant. This 2 plant is also a thirsty plant, and I tell you, I was watering this when it was in its nursery pot. I was watering this plant literally, seemed like every 3 days, you guys. Every 3 days. If I didn't water it every 3 days, all this top right here would just be flopping down, leaning to the side. And the leaves would be a little softer than what they are. But I did take it out of its nursery pot. I put it in this ceramic pot. The ceramic pot does have a drainage hole. So please, it's very important if you do decide to ever plant your plants into a ceramic pot, make sure it has a drainage hole, at least 1 or 2, or whatever the case is. Just make sure it has some form of drainage. And I did add a little bit more extra perlite to the mixture of my soil because I knew I was putting it in there. And I knew that I'm like a heavier water, so I'm doing what works best for me. And you have to find, as a plant parent, you have to find out what works best for you. You know, I'm not a botanist by any means. Only thing that I can give you guys is my personal experiences and what I've come across as I am going through my plant journey here. But just look at this plant. Isn't it beautiful? And I didn't pay a lot of money for this plant either. This plant probably cost me under $10. But look at the beauty that you can get. So, I mean, it depends on the type of person that you are. You know, if you're into foliage, you don't necessarily have to break the bank to get that plant that you like. Now, of course, everybody would want to get that beautiful variegated monstera or that Syngonium albo, or, you know, whatever off the chart high price plants that are out there. But you can actually find the beauty just in the simple part of the leaves. I just love the foliage because of the pattern. The texture of it is, I just love leaves with texture. I appreciate any form of a different color. I just love that copper. It's subtle, but it's gorgeous at the same time. It's rewarded me with so much growth. I really appreciate it. So I appreciate actually the plants that I showed you guys, even though they can be a little time consuming because you do have to water them a little bit more often than you do your other plants, or at least the other plants in my collection. I appreciate the plants because they have taught me a very important, I guess, step when it becomes how to become a better plant parent, and that's just the accuracy of your water. They've given me the opportunity for me to actually know my plants, the watering style, how to water, how much water to give, when to pull back on the water, when I should start watering. So it's given me a lot of lessons, valuable lessons that I can carry on and apply to my other plants that may not need that much water. So if you have any like thirsty plants like I do, please let me know. Comment down below and share with us like what plants do you have in your collection that require more water than others. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Are you ready to give up on them? Do you want to give them to a friend? You know, share your comment, share your feelings below. I'm interested in knowing your thoughts. And this is it for the video today. Keep in mind, if you love foliage as much as I do and you love listening to planting things, definitely subscribe. I appreciate the support. Hit the like button too. Enjoy your day wherever you are in the world. Until next time, much love. See you later.